Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Lamson Family Farms. Today is Saturday, April 20th. I've got a number of projects I need to be doing this weekend, but I wanted to first give you guys an update about the seed starting. So there's good news and bad news. And I think most of the news is that I think I let my soil get too dry. So I did my first 2 baking sheets with seed, and it's been, I think we're going on a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. I'll have to look that up. And some of the seeds have come up and some have not. And so I was looking at what seeds did come up, and I think part of the issue was also that some of the seeds I put in were very old. Like I did half of one of the trays in lavender seed that was from 2016. So not terribly concerned that that didn't come up, and other things have come up. So once I figured out that I was keeping the soil too dry, I've been watering more, and that has helped. Not necessarily the first 2 trays that I started, but I started 10 more trays since I did the first 2, and a lot of those seeds are coming up. So I think it's not really the soil that's an issue. I think it was the moisture that I was the moisture level that I was keeping it at. Okay, so as you can see, I've done 10 more trays, and these ones I only did about a week ago. So you can see there's some larger things coming up. These ones are doing pretty good. This whole tray here is yarrow, and they're very small when they start, but you can see that they're coming up. And then like this tray is doing pretty well. That is all zinnia. And then this tray next to it didn't have anything last night, but you can see things are coming up now. So I really do feel like it was the watering that was the issue, which is totally my fault, totally user error. So I'm gonna spend some time this morning before I start my morning chores, getting especially these 2 baking sheets worth of trays sorted, and then scrapping some of the soil and restarting. It's Saturday and I don't need to go anywhere this morning, but I don't want to start my morning chores early because I don't want to throw off the girls' milking routine. I've been milking them right between 10:30 to 11, and I only milk once a day, and I don't want to get them off that schedule. So it's about 9 o'clock right now, so I have about an hour to kill before I need to go do my milking. And we've got somebody coming today to buy one of the baby goats. So I thought this would be a good project just to stay away from the animals, because when they see me, they're gonna get loud because they think they're getting their breakfast. Keep out of the way, and I need to get this stuff finished anyway. So I think later I'll show you what other projects I've got going on, but I am excited to start working with the seeds. I feel like I've got a handful of projects that, because I have a handful of projects, I don't feel like I'm getting them completed as quickly as I would like to. So we'll go over those later today, and I'll show you what I've got going on. Okay, so I was able to get quite a few things labeled. So out of those 2 cookie sheet trays, I've got some rosemary coming up. I have actually some rhubarb coming up. And I've got a lot of, the zinnias are doing great. The dill is doing great. I've got some borage that's doing really well. Things that I need to probably give a lot longer are, I've got hollyhock, foxglove, and lupin. And I know lupin doesn't love to be started inside, but I'm going to try it anyway. Those 3 are all seeds that we collected, so hit or miss. Yarrow's doing great. And I see I have some fennel coming up. So I think I'm going to keep on today with putting in more flower starts. And then I think later this week I'll move on to starting some vegetables. Just because we are getting close to our last frost date, Our last frost date is end of April. I'm gonna get my tomatoes going. This will be the first year we're not doing tomatoes in a greenhouse, so we'll see how this goes. I'm planning on doing some, I'll probably do some cherry tomatoes, but probably gonna do a lot of things like San Lorenzo, and like a canning tomato, because I did can tomatoes last year, but I want to do some more this year, and I think we're gonna probably try to can salsa, just because we go through a lot of salsa. So I want like a field tomato this year. So I'm gonna get those started inside, but I'm gonna keep on getting some soil blocks done. I am starting seeds now, but I will probably be doing seeds all year, or at least all summer, just because I have a lot of space I want to fill with, especially perennial flowers, and so it won't hurt me to just keep going. Okay, so one of the projects that I've started to work on is this room. So this is a stall that I have been using as a catch-all space for the barn. It's right off of the kind of the lobby of the barn. When you walk in, it's right to the left. And so I have used it in the past as a stall. Like when we first got Wicket, the donkey, we put him in here for a little while because we didn't have the horses yet. We've put goats in here. It's got, concrete floor. So I've swept it out and just used it. Like right now we've got our horse tack over there, and I've got my little table to keep notes, and then that's the entrance behind us. And then I've got the upper portion of some of our kitchen cabinets in here, as well as the bottom, because I'm planning on using that in this room. So what I'm going to do is clean this space up. It really needs it. You can see it's kind of got patched stuff on the ceiling, and like the paint is chipping. So what I'm going to do is make this room a tack room for all of our horse stuff, because I am thinking about doing horse boarding. So I think it would be nice to have a dedicated room for everybody's tack, and just on the other side of this wall is the main big swinging door of the barn, and it's a perfect spot to cross tie a horse. So people could cross tie their horses right outside of here, come and get their tack, put it on. I also have, there's a electrical plug just on the outside of this wall. So I had already drilled a hole up in the corner up here, so we could put now like an extension cord, and I'll end up walling, I'll flip you around in a second, but the side that you guys are resting on right now is slats for like head gates. And so I'm gonna end up walling this wall, and then we could heat this room if we need to in the future. Like if people need a heated tack room, then we could do that. And then we can, I'm gonna do the bottom kitchen cabinets in here and install the uppers on this wall, so that people can put like, different sprays and have like boxes for themselves and brushes and anything you really could want, and with door set close. So I'm also thinking about at some point, like right now for our horse tack, I had just made like little stands for the saddles, which is okay, but the saddles get dusty, and in part it's because this room doesn't have proper walls right now, so dust floats in from the hay. I just have hay on the other side of that headstall. So I might start with more saddle stands. You can see I've also got one like on the Tupperware there. I might make some more saddle stands, but in future I might dedicate maybe that wall to make like built-in cupboards, so people can, and if they can put locks on them if they want to, have their own cabinet for all of their tack, and then just close it off, and then dust won't be coming in and out. They won't have to worry about somebody using their tack. It'll just be their space. So that's what I'm working on in here. You can see behind me there was the headstall. So that wall I'm going to put plywood up, probably on this side, because the other side has more wonky edges. So today I am going to be working on chipping that wall. It's got some cracking paint, so I'm going to chip that off and I still have extra paint from the goat maternity ward. And so I'm just going to be doing everything white in here. I know, super boring, but it does make things look cleaner. And I want to get that wall done first because I want to move these cabinets against the wall. And then I also have the uppers that I'm going to put up on the wall. Because right now it's just a little cluttered because I have the cabinets in here. I had Julia help me move it in because I can't lift it by myself. So I want to get that situated and set up because then I can also put some of this stuff that's kind of like free floating in this room in those cabinets. And then that will really help me clear up the other walls and I can start working on that. So I'm slowly trying to get set up for horse boarding. I haven't talked about this with a lot of people yet, but I do really enjoy our horses. And we had Bear the Belgian here, and while it is fun to have other people's horses here, it really does need to be treated as a job because it is a job. It's a lot of work, and if I'm going to be spending that much time, it needs to be a job for me. And so we're thinking we will probably start with a couple of horses in a boarding situation, and once we get more fields fenced off, then we could add more. There are lots of places in this barn that I could add stalls if I want to. I'm not really hoping to do stalls as a permanent situation for horses. I don't really think that's healthy for them. I do have areas where a horse could come in and use a stall if they need to, but just to have a horse sit in a stall most of the day is not something I want to be doing. I don't really think it's healthy. I think they're meant to be in herd situations. They are herd animals and they need room to move. So I'm hoping to do rotational kind of grazing with the horses, but also have fields for them to do group general turnout based on their personalities. So that's what I'm trying to get set up for that. And I'm already like adding horse boarding care information to our website, and I'm looking into what licenses and insurances that I need to be able to do that through the business. Okay, so I'm making pretty good progress on the wall. I got it sanded, and I'm still wearing the mask because there's still some dust in here, so I want to keep it on for a while. But I'm just painting it now. So I'm not terribly worried about getting lots of coats on this wall because most of the wall is going to be covered by cabinets anyway. So I don't want to waste my paint on like 3 layers. So I'm just going to do this 1 layer, and then I will do a second coat and maybe a third if I need it after I put up the cabinets. But it sanded really well. I'm actually surprised I've been able to go so quickly because I imagined I would have to sand and then sand again and then wait. But the bottom half didn't need any sanding. It was just really the top half, which is strange to me. But I got that done, and so I'm just painting up the corners now. And then I will, I'm trying to decide if I need to take the shop vac, because I did sweep, and I think that's probably enough. And then I'll move the cabinets back, and I need to clean up the cabinets anyway, because if you remember, this is the base cabinet that I thought I wanted to make a goat milking stanchion out of. And I had used it as a table when I was doing the goat maternity ward, so it's got a lot of sawdust in it. So I need to give that a good cleaning out, and then reassemble it and wipe everything off. I've got all the drawers and the doors just in the little lobby here. So everything just needs a good clean. It's just dusty. I am hoping that once we get some walled off spaces though, that the things that I want to stay nice in the barn will actually stay nice in the barn. Because right now, I mean, it gets really windy in here, especially with having all the hay. Things just get really, really dusty quickly, which I don't really love. So anyway, I'm just going to keep on. Just heard the goats. It's probably about time for them to get another bottle. Yeah. I think they hear me. So I'm going to keep on painting, and put you guys on another time lapse. Okay, so this is one of the other projects that I've been working on, is this field. I am going to be putting up a fence. So none of our fields have fencing, and one of my goals this year is to get as many of the fields fenced as possible. And I'm starting with this field. So it is pretty private. It's definitely away from the road. It's our second to last field towards the creek. So all of our fields are terraced down to the creek. And so we've got this field, and then just over here on the left is a smaller field. That is our last field. So it's going to be a good one to get the horses onto, because most of our fields are alfalfa, which is too rich for the horses. But this field is mostly like fescue. So if I can get this one fence first, I can get the horses onto it and get them off of the field that they've been on since they moved here last year. So the field that they moved to last year behind our barn is essentially just become a scrap field. They've been on it a long time. And I'm thinking about putting the goats back there this year and just giving it a break. So if I can get this field fenced, this will be a good space for the horses. I'm also doing this field first because this side here on the right, it stays pretty shady in the afternoon. So even though there's not like a structure in this field to cover them from rain, they will have a spot to get out of the sun in the afternoon and evening. And so it stays pretty cool down here. So you can see on this side of the field that I've already done the T-posts, and I have put just a string so I can kind of see the outline. So what I did first was to get just the general feel of where I wanted the fence. I did a T-post about every 50 feet, or you can see there's this corner or this bend in the field, which is right in the middle. So I did kind of the edge, and then the middle, and then the other edge first, just to kind of see where the scoop would be. And I strung the string just so I could get an idea of what the straight lines were. And then I went back and put T-posts, but I did about every 10 feet. And I know that's a little excessive, but I keep going back and forth in my mind about how many T-posts I should be putting in. And the long and short of it is, I want to do it right the first time. I don't want to have to come back every year to add more because it wasn't enough and my animals were getting out. So all of the fields will have electric fencing, but I want to do a good enough fence that I can put my horses in there, I can put my cows in here, I can put my goats, we might get sheep at some point, and at some point we might end up getting a mini Jersey bull. And so I want the fence to be really strong. So I did a T-post about every 10 feet. So, and I have most of the sides on this field will be T-posts, but I did leave a couple spots where I'm going to be putting wooden posts, just as a bit more reinforcement. I'm going to be doing a wooden post on either side of that bend, just because there's going to be a lot of pressure on the fence. And then the front of this gate, the front of this fence here, is mostly going to be wooden posts. And I don't have the string up right now because I've started to dig where the posts will be. So I've got my helper Willa Joe today, but you can see where I've been digging. So all of the dirt piles is essentially where a post is. And I'll show you more once I get posts up. But the idea of this front area is that we've got this main driveway here. And so we maintain this little road. It's our private property. However, our bottom field has power poles. And so the power company does need access to this road if there's an issue with the poles. So, and I didn't want to get the fence too close to that. So this mowed area will just be open. And so, yes, I'm losing roughly 20 feet off of the field. However, my idea is that this field is actually a pretty good size for like an arena space. If in the future and there's my outdoor cat, Onslow, all the way at the end of the field. So we could have this as an arena space. So I wanted to leave enough room that you could bring a car down here and then park your car and then back up into the road and leave. So it's enough room for people to pull in. It's enough room for a tractor to swing in if we need a tractor down here. I'm not terribly worried about backing up a trailer down here, just because if we did need to like get a trailer down here and then turn around, we would just go into that field and circle in that field. So what's going to happen is at the end, the corner of this field, there's going to be a corner post, and then 6 feet from that, and these are all wooden. There's going to be a corner wooden post, and then 6 feet from it, there's going to be a wooden support post. And then I'll have a 20-foot length that will essentially be a big gate. So you could still get a tractor into this field if you need to. And so what I think I'll do is I'm not going to do like a metal gate because it is going to be an electric fence. I'm going to just do the handles on the electric fence. And I'll probably sink 2 T-posts in there. So if we do need the tractor to go in, we'll just take the T-posts out. I just don't anticipate we'll need to get a tractor in this field hardly at all, hopefully. And we also don't have a tractor right now anyway. But if we need to, we can. But I'm just not counting on needing to get a tractor in this field like every week. So, but in an emergency, I want to not have to take my fence down, like my wooden posts, because I didn't give myself enough space. So it will have the option to do that. So we're going to have a 20-foot length, and then there's going to be a wooden post. And then 6 feet from that, I'll have another wooden post. And I'll do the like wood bars between those just to help stabilize it. And then we will have an 8-foot gap and then a wood post. And that will be the main gate that we walk through all the time, just because, just to bring animals in and out, we'll have that kind of in the middle here. And then this length will be T-posts. And then, I don't know if you can see it from here, but that dirt pile is the corner. And then this is another wooden support. So we'll have the 3 wood posts on this corner. And then it will be mostly T-posts on this side. And then I'll show you what I'm going to do in the back. Okay, so we are almost at the end of April. And I am trying to be better about getting out here now that the weather is warming up a bit and starting to do fencing. I've been mulling over fence ideas in my mind all winter, and while I still feel like I'm getting stuck on the idea that what if I put in isn't going to be what I want it to be forever, and that really holds me up from doing anything. And I know it's a perfection thing that I just need to start getting over. So I'm out here doing what I think is going to be best for at least a few years down the road. I do want to eventually get to having all wooden posts, but that's not realistic for me this year, and I need my animals to get out on the fields this year. So because I want to start doing the rotational grazing with them, and we're not planning on having our fields leased out for hay this year and alfalfa. I've got Willa out here today, and I think she just saw something. So I have been pleasantly surprised with how easy this soil has been to dig fence post holes. Our last property, gosh, it would take you almost all day to just dig a couple holes. I'll show you in a second. This soil is so good. I was able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the better part of 7 fence post holes, 2.5 feet down in under 2 hours yesterday by hand. I am not using an auger or a tractor. I just took a shovel and a spade, and this soil is so good, so good. It made me so hopeful that I won't need like heavy equipment to do most of the fencing here, and that if I wanted to do just a fence post like every week, just kind of go down the line, I could reasonably do that by myself without equipment. So I'm feeling really good about that. So today, Willa Joe and I are down here, and I'm hoping to finish up the fenced post holes on the front end of the field. And then once I do that, I can take the string off of the left side of the field. I'm a very visual person, and I like seeing the string up. It just gives me a good idea about the structure of the fence. But I ran out of string, and so I need that string to do the other side. At some point this week, I need to go get more T-posts. I'm trying to see if I either need to go to the store to do that, or I'm thinking about placing an order to be delivered with also the wooden fence posts, so that I won't have to keep going out to the store, running back and forth. Because I'm also thinking about, I'm mostly leaning towards putting concrete on the fence posts that are wooden. These holes have been really easy, and I've been able to get them relatively narrow, so there's not much of a gap. And I don't know, I feel like some people are like, yes, you need concrete on wooden fence posts, and some people are like, it's field fencing, if you go deep enough you don't need that. So I'm not quite sure which way I want to go. Obviously using concrete is more work, but if it lasts me longer, I'd rather just do it right the first time and not have to come back in a few years and redo it. So one of the other projects for fencing this field is that there was a tree that blew over before we moved here. We've cut most of it up now, but I still need to get a bigger chainsaw and come get the base of it. It won't really stop me from putting the fence up because, it's so low that I'll just put the first strand of wire over it. But at some point I do need to come and remove the rest of this tree. So this pile I have kept, I cut it to size that I wanted to, because I'm thinking about using some of those for chicken roosting bars. I really like the rustic look for chicken coops, and I might as well, instead of going to the store and buying wood. So I probably am going to use those in the chicken coop. Okay, so this is the far end of the field. So that side is the driveway, and where I'm going to be doing the front part of the fence that has the spot for the tractor, and then also a gate for people just to come through with animals. But this back side of the field, so it's a very long field, long and narrow, but this back side of the field, right where Willa's about to end up, is one of the kind of turnouts for our trails that go down through the woods to the creek. So you can come out this way and meet back up with the driveway, Or you can, try not to spin you guys too fast, cut through those trees, and then you end up in our big field. And our big field, which is all alfalfa. So what I'm going to be doing is, you can see the string here, which I'm about to move a little bit more to the right, I think. I'm going to end up losing probably another 10-15 feet of pasture on the back end, but I want it so that people can still walk through the fields without having to go through fences all the time. Especially because I am thinking about doing horse boarding, and we have our own horses that we like to trail ride, and I don't want us to have to keep getting on and off our horses or keep stopping to open gates. I think it would just be easier if I designed the fields so that you could still go around them. And so we'll end up having about a 15-foot strip where people and horses can still come and walk through to meet back up with the trail. Okay, so you'll have a 10 to 15 foot alleyway to meet back up with the big field, but I'm not going to make a trail on the side of the field on the long sides, because you can meet back up with the driveway by just going to the trail and taking a left, and that also pops you back out at the bottom field with the telephone poles and the driveway. So I don't think I need a trail on the long sides of this field. So the other part of it is, I'm also not going to be on the back side of the field on the fence line going to be leaving a spot for a tractor to go through, just because there would be there would be really nowhere for them to go anyway, because you can get a car through those two trees, which is the little entrance to the big field, but you can't get a tractor anyway, and you also can't get a tractor through the trails down to the creek. So there's really no need for a tractor to have access down here. And so just having access through the front of the field is fine. The way that I want to design the gate system over here is that I think I'm going to end up with probably, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 or 7 wooden fence posts and some electric gates. So what I want to do is, on this tree on the left, I'm probably going to do just like an accent wooden fence post with like the 3 rails. So just kind of like a little bit of a wooden fence. It's not going to prevent anything from crossing here. But what I want to do is, where these markers are, I want this one to be the start of a gate, and then that one to be the end of the gate. And then I'll probably do either to the tree or another fence post there, just do like a rail. Yes, hi Willow Joe. So that when you open the gate from here, it's going to swing this way to block off the alleyway, and then they'll be met with another wooden fence here so the animals can't go through to the woods. And so that when you open the gate here, it's essentially an alley for them to get up to the big field. Just because we are going to be doing rotational grazing, I'm trying to design it so that it will be easy for one person, probably me, to move animals by themselves. So if I've got animals down here in this field and I want them to go up to the big field, I can hopefully just open this gate to the wooden fence post over here. They'll be blocked on this side and they'll move through. And I haven't quite decided what I want the gate or fence to be up in the big field. I'll work on that later. But I do think it would be nice just to have it set up here so they can move through up there. So this is a view of the big field from the bottom of the trail. It is quite large, and this is only about half of it. So you can see it goes to the driveway over there, and then the barn, which is right up there. And then so there's this little tree line, which is actually mostly apple trees that I want to really prune back and maybe put in a couple more. And so then it's got this opening up here, and then it goes up to the top half of the field. And so this field will have, when I'm finished fencing it, will have a nice perimeter fence. But then I don't think I'm going to be doing probably any like permanent fencing in the middle of the field. But to break it up, I'll probably just do movable rotational grazing, probably like poly rope, and just move them through different spots, but there will be a big perimeter fence. Okay, everybody, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.